Okay. I think we are live. There we go. Live on YouTube and live on Instagram. Let's see here. I am pulling up our... Looks like the chat is disconnected on YouTube. Well, that's not cool. That's the first time that's happened. Let me see. I'm trying to fix this YouTube chat. Hold on a sec. I don't know why it's not on. Let's try it again later. Unable to connect. All right. Well, whatever. We are live on YouTube as well, and we're live here on Instagram. That's why we're doing both. When we have technical difficulties, we're on both. We got a few people over on YouTube. I'm not sure why. Not sure why it's not connected to. It might just be a weak signal or something with the chat on YouTube. We're gonna give it a minute for you guys to get logged on. Sorry, guys. I think that there's some sort of an issue with YouTube on the chat. So that's okay though. We're just gonna roll with it because we got Instagram up as well. So if it's able to connect on YouTube, then it will. We're gonna give it a minute here. What's up, you guys? As you all are getting logged on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And just so you guys know, we are live both on Instagram and on YouTube right now, but it does look like the YouTube is having an issue with the chat right now. So, oh well, it says welcome to live chat and it's unable to connect right now. So if you want to chat in, then get in on Instagram instead of YouTube. But it will go up. It will go live on YouTube once we're done as well. Okay. Welcome. Okay, we're going to roll right into this. So we're going to start with Arnold previews over the next few days. And today we're going to start with Bikini lineup. And we'll probably do wellness tomorrow. So this is going to be a really, really good Bikini Arnold. There's some really good physiques here. And they're all going to compare very well to each other too. So I want to touch on a few things as we go through this. I'm going to talk a little bit about each girl. What's up? And just kind of talk about how they've looked in the past, what we're seeing through their posts and their Instagram updates and things like that, and how I think it's going to play out with the top 6. So that's essentially what I'm going to go through tonight. Now, again, these are just predictions. These are just for fun. These are just things that I'm noticing and seeing. And so it's just going to be a matter of how it plays out on the day of the show. And a lot of things can happen on the day of the show too. You know, this could end up being completely wrong. So just take everything with a grain of salt. But I have a pretty good idea of how I think this may play out. And I'm going to also mention a couple of things that we talked about at the posing clinic this past weekend with the judges, and how that may affect what's going to be happening here at the Arnold's. I think this will be the first place that they actually put this into effect. So before we get into this, I just want to mention that Danielle Phelps is out with an injury. She is not going to be competing. She was actually one that I was looking at as a potential first call out girl initially. But at this point, I think she's got a torn hamstring or something along that line. She's got an injury, so she had to pull out of the show. So she's no longer in it. As far as I know, everybody else is in line. So, it should be a really good show. Some of these girls have been doing some physique updates and things like that. And other ones have not. So, and then other ones have been filtering their physique updates and things too. So we're going to talk about that as well, which is fine. First of all, I want to say that's fine. I actually used to do that with my own physique updates because I would filter them so that people couldn't tell what I actually looked like. So it kept people engaged, but they didn't know what I actually looked like until I got on stage. But yeah, Danny is out. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to her getting on the stage. I was seeing her potentially in a top 5 position. So that's unfortunate for her. But anyway, going back to the filtered Instagram, I actually don't have a problem with that because, again, it keeps people guessing and keeps people interested. It keeps people wondering what you actually look like. And the person I'm talking about specifically with this is Alison Testu. So Alison, I think she placed 12th at the Olympia, if I remember correctly. She's from France. And all of her Instagram updates are really shadowed, which doesn't tell you a whole lot about what she actually looks like, but she's doing a really good job of getting people interested. So I am curious to see what she's going to actually look like on stage. But you can't really tell what she's going to look like based on what she's doing because she is so shadowed in all of her updates. And again, like I said, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's actually good on her part. It keeps the hype up. Keeps people guessing, keeps people wondering what she's going to post next. So good job on that regard. I think that might actually be working to her benefit when it comes to her marketing on Instagram and all that. So good for her. But I am curious to see what she's going to actually look like on stage. And I'm kind of going to move up the list here, I guess, since I started with Alison and started with that note. Moving up the list, we're looking at Isa Piccini. So obviously she would be one to be looking at for, potential win here because she has won it in the past and she has won the Olympia in the past as well. Her waist looks insane in all those videos she's posting. Yeah, but it's super, super shadowed. So I don't know if she actually looks like that or not. Like I was saying that the other day, I'm like, she may look like that. She might, but there's a lot of shadows too. So we'll see. But like I said, I think it's actually really good on her part. It's getting people talking. So that's good. Especially being one of these competitors that's not as well known as some of these top Olympians. It's getting people talking about her. So go for it, right? So Isa is looking pretty good. She did an update yesterday, a physique update. To me, she looks a little unbalanced. Like she's a little bigger on the lower half than she is on the top. That's always been her. And, within a couple of days, that can change if she tightens up her lower half, right? So, as far as what she's looking like right now, this is probably the best she's looked in a while going into a show, just based on her Instagram update. So I am curious to see how she pulls it in for the Arnold. And I'm curious to see how her backside comes in, because right now I feel like she's a little bit unbalanced, but that could change. Like I said, that could change in the next week. I'm also seeing that her posing is a little bit exaggerated in this particular update that she did. I like to see her pose a little bit more relaxed. I know that's been a thing that they've been kind of critiquing her on before. So I'm hoping that maybe she pulls the posing exaggeration down a little bit. I just wanted to show her shape. She's got an insane shape. So all she really needs to do is stand there. So I hope that that's kind of the direction that she can take over the next week or so. Moving up to Lucia Malvez. So Lucia, we haven't seen a whole lot from her leading into this show. Lucia is one that can look phenomenal. And then she's one that can also come in a little bit too soft on her lower half. So I really don't know what she looks like right now. She had an amazing killer presence at the Olympia, was top 10 there. So it's very possible that she brings that back here, but she's been a little bit inconsistent the last couple of shows that she did. So I'm curious to see what she looks like. I'm curious to see what she looks like and see if she can bring back the same look that she had at the Olympia. My biggest critique on Lucia is that she just changes so much all the time. She changes her posing all the time, her suit all the time, her hair all the time. She just needs to find a look and stick with it. If she could do that and just become a little bit more consistent, I think that would be really helpful for her. Moving up to Jordan. So Jordan looks really good too. She hasn't done an actual physique update in probably about a month or so, but the last couple of shows that she did, I felt like she brought her best looks I've ever seen. What was it? Atlantic States or something like that. The one that was Atlanta All-Star, whatever it was that she just won. That was by far her best look. So I think if she can bring that same look in to the Arnold, that would be a huge win for her. So I'm curious to see what she looks like. Like I said, she hasn't really done a full physique update at all for the last month or so. So she did from what I saw, I think the last time she posted any progress pictures, I think was February 1st. So I'm curious to see what she looks like. She's keeping it on the down low, which is totally fine. I'm just interested to see. I'm interested to see how she looks on stage, because if she looks at all like she did her last pro show win, she's gonna look really good. Next up, we've got Ashley. So Ashley Kaltwasser obviously is always going to be one that's in the mix. That's going to be talked about. She just won the Legends show. Ashley doesn't doesn't really change a whole lot. Like, again, going back to what I was saying with Lucia changes all the time. Ashley doesn't really change a whole lot. So there's very little minimal changes that she makes each show, which I think is smart. I think that's the way you should do that. Because in general, that's how you're going to make improvements. I don't know. Again, when we're talking about Legends, we saw pictures and things like that, and she looked fine in the pictures, but I didn't really see a whole lot of video. And after I did my review of Legends, a few of the girls that competed in that show sent me some of their individual videos and things like that, and I saw a whole lot better through those videos what these girls actually looked like than what the photos looked like. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how Ashley looks right now. She had a very lackluster look at the Arnold, but then she pulled it really quickly together for the Olympia. So I'm curious to see what she looks like here. She's always going to be one that's going to be talked about. She's always going to be one that's going to be in the mix. Just curious to see how high up in the mix she goes. Phoebe. So Phoebe is up next on the list. So Phoebe won the Arnold in the UK this past year. I followed her a little bit on her YouTube channel. She was talking about this was a really tough prep because when she came out of her last set of shows that she didn't do a very good job of coming out of her last few shows as far as reverse dieting and things like that. So this has been a very tough show for her, like show prep for her. Her most recent physique update looked pretty good. She definitely needs to drop a little bit more from the back. But also she's been traveling a lot. She's come from the UK. So that could be part of why she looked like she was holding a little bit. She mentioned that she was, what was it that she said in her last YouTube video? Oh, that she was having a hard time with this prep, that it was like, it was suffering, that kind of thing, because of, how she came out of her last show. So I think it's good that she's being honest about that. And who knows, maybe she'll pull it together where she'll get that lower half in tight enough and surprise us all, that kind of thing, right? Alessia Fashin, I think the last time we saw pictures of her was the beginning of February as well. Alessia tends to look pretty much the same all the time, right? She may be a little bit fuller, that kind of thing. One show a little less the next, depending on, there's one show where she was on her cycle, and so she had a little bit distension in her lower abs, that kind of thing. But she tends to look pretty similar every show. She's got a good consistency down. Again, she's consistent. She might be a little bit too lean for this lineup, but we'll see. If I was her, I would make sure that I was coming in really full, because most of these girls in this lineup are going to be full. We just talked about that with Issa, Lucia. These girls are full from the back. So if I was Alessia and trying to plan how it's going to look, I'd try to fill out a bit. So that would be my suggestion for her. But again, we haven't seen a physique update in a little bit, so we'll see. Lauren, Dannon Miller, again, she just barely lost to Ashley at the Legends. She needed to fill out a little bit. She went and got some feedback and needs to fix her posing a little bit. Basically all the things that I mentioned in the wrap up of Legends Pro was what she got feedback on. So she just changes a couple of little things for her and fills out a little bit more. I could see her being a real threat because, again, she almost won that Legends Pro show. So, she's coming off of that and she just needs to make a few little tweaks and we could see her up in that top, So, again, small little minor things. Posing, her hair was a little bit too long. Needs to fill her shoulders out, that kind of thing. And those are all easily fixed. So we'll see what she looks like, but I have a feeling she's probably going to do pretty well here. Going up to Laura Lee. Now, obviously, Laura Lee would be one that we would all be looking at as a potential winner for this show because she did just come in second at the Olympia and only by 1 point. Laura Lee is looking great. From what I spoke to her about this past weekend, she feels really good. She feels really healthy. She feels like this is the best prep that she's had, period. So I'm curious to see what she looks like on stage. From what I've seen of her in person, she's ready. She's ready to go. So she's going to be a hard one. She's going to be a hard one to beat for sure, which brings us to Maureen. Maureen looks amazing right now. Maureen was 4th at the Olympia, and she was the one that I kept telling people, I'm like, she's that girl. You guys are forgetting about her. She's so well balanced. I still think she's a little bit soft from the back, but that is going to come in the next week. Again, going back to the same thing I saw with Issa, the last week is where that stuff all tightens right up. Maureen looks good from her recent update. Maureen looks phenomenal. Yeah, she's very, very well balanced. And I really think it's going to come down to Maureen and Laura Lee. I really do. Now, something else that could play into this, when I spoke to the judges this past weekend at the shop, they are very adamant about the criteria of Bikini being pulled down, meaning they don't want to see a whole lot of hardness through the hamstrings, and tightness and too lean, too many glute striations, things like that. They want to see fuller, rounder bodies on stage. And they're really, really hammering that. Laura Lee and Maureen are both fired. Yeah. I was saying Maureen, Laura Lee, and Ashley top 3 potentially. I'll give you my top. I'm going to give you my top predictions. But I think the fact that they're looking for these rounder, fuller physiques is going to play in both Maureen and Laura Lee's favor a lot. That just is my gut feeling, my gut reaction. We'll see how it plays out on stage, obviously. But again, this is something that they were really, and again, I'd heard this from like 3 or 4 of the judges this past weekend, because they just had a judges meeting in Pittsburgh, and they're adamant about this. They want the Bikini criteria to not go too far to the extreme. So they're pulling it down. They want to see rounder, fuller bodies. Yes, let's hope. Yes, wellness is supposed to do the same thing, Devin. We'll talk about that when we cover wellness, which we'll probably do tomorrow. So wellness is supposed to do the same thing. So they're trying to pull it back. So I think that's going to show up in the results at the Arnold this year. I'm hoping it does. That's going to set a precedent for the year, basically. So when it comes down to it, and it comes down to my predictions and how I think this is going to play out, I do think it's going to come down to Maureen and Laura Lee for top 2, which is going to be interesting because Maureen is teeny tiny and Laura Lee is really super tall, but they have really well balanced frames. They're very full. They're very round. They're very bubbly. So I really think it's going to come down to the 2 of them. It has come down to the 2 of them before, like what was it, Chicago? When they did Chicago Pro, Laura Lee beat Maureen, but not by much. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to come down to the 2 of them for top 2. Then for 3-4, I have Ashley and Issa. And it's just going to be a matter of A, who comes in best that day, and B, who looks best up against Maureen and Laura Lee. So I think whoever comes in nice and round and full and bubbly and looking like Maureen and Laura Lee is probably going to beat the other one, right? And either one of these girls could do that, right? Ashley could beat Issa, and Issa could beat Ashley. So it's just going to be a matter of who shows up looking as close to the criteria and looking their best that day. So I think it's going to be the 2 of them in that 3-4 position. And then I have Jordan and Lauren in the 5-6 position. And again, it's going to come down to who's nice and full and round and bubbly. It's going to be a comparison of physiques with like physiques. So those are my top 6. I think those are going to be my top 6. And it's just going to be a matter of, again, who comes in there best, and who is fitting the current criteria the best too. I'm really curious to see how this gets rewarded. I really am, because like I said, if I hadn't heard this from multiple judges this past weekend, I wouldn't be hammering on this so much. But they're really, really trying to make a significant shift so that people know what the direction of the division is supposed to be. So I'm hoping that we see that with the results this coming next weekend, right? Oh, so as far as bubbly, round and bubbly, I mean, I've talked about that before. The best way that I can say that is full and round. I mean, full round bubbly muscles. I don't know how else to explain it. Full and round. All those words are all similar. So that's just the look that they have. That's just the look that they have, versus flat and stringy. Pop and fullness to your muscles, right? Yep. So all those words are similar to each other. Descriptive words, all of them. Is a shift also for amateurs or just pros? It'll come down the line, as it always does. It starts with the pros and then works its way down. Yep, because they don't want to see the criteria get too far. Maybe not a hard, straight muscle. Right. Yes. Full, round, bubbly. Those words all interchange. Full, fullness. You know when somebody's too lean. You know when somebody's too hard. You know when somebody's too striated, right? Versus filled out and nice and healthy looking and round looking, right? A grape, not a raisin, exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. I use that it's not a metaphor. What's the word I'm looking for? Simile. I use that a lot. You got a grape, you got a raisin. Raisin is a shriveled up grape. You want grapes, right? It's a great term, raisin and grape. Yeah, I use that visual all the time, right? Analogy. Thank you. I can't think of what word. I don't know. Thank you. Appreciate that. Analogy. Yes, analogy. So yeah, they want to see you round and full. In terms of muscularity, are they trying to keep the current size or change things in all that respect? No, muscularity, they want to keep the same. It's just the level of conditioning more than anything else. The level of leanness, hardness, all those kinds of things. They just don't want to see these etched out hamstring tie-ins and things like that, which again, I think is going to play in Maureen and Laura Lee's favor, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, that healthy round look, not too hard, not too grainy, not too dry, not too lean, all those kinds of things. Right. Any other questions, you guys? That's my prediction. My prediction is I think it's going to be between Maureen and Laura Lee. I really do. At the Olympia, I could have seen Maureen higher than she was, to be honest with you. So she's looking even better than the Olympia right now from her previews. So let's see how she comes in. Let's see how she comes in. I think from what I've seen and when we've seen full physique updates of each of these girls, each one of them needs to pull their lower half in a little bit, which is what happens the last week. That's what happens the last week going into a show, is that's when the water drops, all those kinds of things. And when that happens, then they're spot on. They're ready to go. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to see. So that's my prediction. So Maureen and Laura Lee fighting for top 2, Ashley and Issa for 3rd and 4th, and Jordan and Lauren for 5th and 6th. That's my 2 cents, and that's what I'm sticking to. So that's our preview for the Arnold. This is going to be, we'll go through wellness tomorrow. We'll do wellness tomorrow. Let's see what else. And yeah, we'll be at the Arnold too. So if you're going to be there, make sure you say hi. Because obviously Devin's on here. Devin's competing, so she'll be wellness. I completely agree. Yes, for sure. I agree. Yeah. So it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be interesting. This will be the first time we've had a real Arnold in 2 years. So yeah. Yes, you'll be there, Jamaica. Of course you'll be there, Jamaica. You're always everywhere. If they have live TV on you, it's pay-per-view. Yes, for the Arnold. Come see me. Yes. Yeah, so I'm excited. We just had the Arnold in September, so it's a little weird that we're going back right away. But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. In-flight entertainment. LOL, I'm gonna play this. I love it. In-flight entertainment. I love it. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know what happened to the chat on YouTube. I'm guessing just the signal was weak or something, or maybe they have a technical difficulty. Who knows? But it will be up on YouTube once we finish out here, so that you can go back and watch it there too. Wish I could be there. Best of luck to Devin. Yes. Congratulations and good luck to Devin. Yes. So it's going to be a fun week. I've got a couple of amateurs competing, so I'll be there on Wednesday for them on Thursday. And then we get into the thick of things when we go to Friday and Saturday, that kind of thing. So it's going to be a long weekend, but it's always a fun one. I always really enjoy the Arnold. So you get to go train and all that kind of stuff. It's not like a typical show. It's like you get to have fun with people kind of show. So that's like one of the first big shows I ever went to as a fan, so I always love going back to it every year. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Good luck to Devin. Yes. So what we'll do is tomorrow night when we get back on here, we will go through wellness and do predictions for wellness. Can everyone please come to the Southwest? I want to see everyone too. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a trip up. Man. But yeah, there's some people going out to Southwest for shows and things like that too. So just stay tuned, and you'll see some of the girls go out that way. And other than that, I'm going to let you guys go for this evening. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. If you are one of our sponsored athletes or new sponsored athletes, we are putting you into our new Facebook group right now. So make sure you get in there, check your emails, all of that. And that's it. So this will be available on YouTube as soon as we finish out, as well as Instagram. So you can go back and watch either one anytime. So yeah, we're going to continue to do this back and forth in both platforms. Okay. It worked out really good for the athlete search. Unfortunately, we have no chat tonight, but whatever. At least we had the chat during the athlete search. That was important. So we got the chat here on Instagram, so it works. Yeah. So other than that, if you want to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And I'm going to let you guys go for tonight. We'll be back here again tomorrow, 8:15, same time, same place. And we'll talk about the wellness division for the Arnold Championships as well. Okay? Good night, you guys. We're going to end it right here. There we go.